What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be doing a spoiler-free review of a movie that actually came out in theaters a couple of weeks ago and then got on VOD, but you guys really need to hear about this one, so buckle up. It's called Do Not Disturb. Spoiler-free review. Let's get into it. So yeah, there's two movies out right now that are called Do Not Disturb. The one that I watched technically came out in 2022 at the festivals and is now just getting out to the public now. There is also another Do Not Disturb movie on Netflix. We are not going to be talking about that one. I have not seen that one. What we're going to be talking about is the Do Not Disturb by John Ainslie. Now, I'm going to warn you up front, if you like movies that mind melt, sort of like take you on a sort of drug-fueled trip that make you feel body buzzed and crazy graphic things that you might want to turn away from occasionally, don't mind sex a little bit in the movie, this movie is going to have a lot of that. But I will be as spoiler-free as possible because I want you to have the best experience, so don't worry. I knew the story and the plot synopsis, and it still blew me away. So as you can tell, I'm pretty excited about this movie, and yeah, I'm still buzzing, dude. Like, I'm buzzing off this film. Buy the ticket, take the fucking ride, man. So, what is Do Not Disturb all about? A girl and a guy who are in a relationship. They're married, finally, after years of friendship. They decide to go on a vacation to Miami to sort of rekindle a flame that was never really there to begin with, because these two were having a really bad relationship. And trust me, I've had enough bad relationships to know in the past what one's like, and this is a very perfect textbook example. But something happens where they sort of bump into some drugs, and they decide to take peyote, and they have an experience to bond with one another, and it turns into a psychedelic lust and carnal desire of cannibalism. That's all I'll say. Now, as I mentioned, this is by director John Ainslie, who is the writer and the director for this film. He did also a movie called The Sublet back in like 2015, I think it was. And then he also was the writer on Jack Brooks' Monster Slayer. So very different films altogether. Jack Brooks is definitely very different from this movie. Let me just tell you right now. This movie has a very small cast, but they do a lot with this cast. The couple in this film is Chloe and Jack. Chloe is played by Kimberly LaFerriere, and Rogan Christopher plays her husband, Jack. But man, I'm just telling you, like, this movie is, I love indie films that can do this. But this is a movie that's going to probably appeal to people who have been through really terrible relationships. These are ones where you're kind of in a relationship that you're scared to be alone. You know, you've kind of had this friendship, partnership with this person, and, you know, you've gotten used to each other, but you're not really in love. You're just there. And this is definitely a metaphor for all of that. But out of all the bad relationships I've had, hands down, this is probably one of the worst. This is probably the worst breakup you won't want to miss. Somebody should coin that. It's like, if Fear and Loathing, the characters, Hunter S. Thompson and his lawyer, were in a relationship, a very bad one, mind you, and they were breaking up high on cannibalism. Are you interested yet? But yeah, man, like, I seriously, this movie has done some things to me. It made me feel some emotions that I wasn't expecting, because this movie has sort of a lighthearted, sort of uncomfortable vibe about it in the very beginning, because it's very clear that these two do not get along very well at all. And it is unsettling in the sense that, God, I remember being in relationships like that, where it's just like that every day, and it sucks. And this movie does a really good job of kind of painting those relationships like that as a sort of burdensome thing that you have to deal with, almost like family, you know, because I think people get in a relationship sometimes and it's like, they just need to be with somebody. They get so used to them, it becomes like family, and you just kind of forgive them for all the terrible shit that they kind of do to you, and you put up with it, and you're too scared to be alone or to have anybody else find out about your inner deep most secrets that you don't want to share them with anybody else because they probably won't accept you as much as this other person. And that's kind of where these characters live, you know? That's what's really masterful about the writing in this, in a way. Like, yeah, obviously there's some things that happen in the movie. They take some stuff in the movie that is very psychedelic. I don't know if drugs would ever really do that, but bath salts are a thing. A lot of people are comparing this movie to bath salts because of the cannibalistic nature of this film. And I wouldn't disagree with them, but they are on something a little bit more mind altering. I mean, this movie is visceral. Like, my body feels physically tired from the movie I just watched, and my mind is sort of like all over the place. I love movies that are just like crazy trippy like that, put you in this like weird fuzz while you're kind of going through all these like crazy things that are happening, time jumps in the film. The acting in this, by the way, is actually pretty decent. The two of them really do a good job of being almost like the polar opposites, but still needing each other. Kudos to both of them. I mean, they were both really fantastic. When I saw this couple in the very beginning, I was like, yeah, this doesn't feel right, you know? But that's exactly what this movie needed, you know? Kimberly LaFerriere and Rogan Christopher, who plays the husband and wife, fantastic. Like, man, the way that this movie treats relationships and sort of like what it's like to go through the healing process after going through a bad relationship and using it as sort of a metaphor is kind of genius. Personally love it for that. And I would say that this is probably much more of a mature film in that regard because it is dealing with topics that it is a older couple that have been together for a while dealing with a lot of this. You know, you're not going to find a lot of younger kids. They may be in a bad relationship, but they wouldn't look at it the same way as these two characters are. By the end, this movie gets gory and violent and just insanely wild. There's a lot of blood in this film. Now, this isn't like, you know, the most shocking movie. You know, I watch a lot of these unearthed films that they do like really shocking stuff in. This kind of is nestled in between that extremism and sort of like something else. The intro of this movie is very disarming from the other tone of the film. It's like you'll be watching it and then all of a sudden it's just like, wait, whoa, 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 whoa. It's because this movie starts off like this sort of fun, irreverent, you know, bad relationship kind of typical comedy, and then turns it into this really disturbing kind of film. So it's very disarming. All these pieces just don't belong in some way, and sort of they make it fit, and it really works very well, very effective. It's like a gut punch and a brain punch while you're watching the movie. I don't know, maybe, you know, it'll be different for other people that experience it, but for me, I totally got it, and I totally was vibing with this movie the whole fucking time. There are some uncomfortable moments in this film that are intentionally designed to make you feel uncomfortable in a lot of ways. I think it's great. I think it's probably one of my favorite movies this year. I definitely would watch this again, although I would be a little hesitant to watch it, not in the fact because it's too graphic or anything like that. It does have its gore, but it's not too graphic. It's just kind of shocking in the sense of like, everything that's happening, because you're just like, no, don't do that. And then they do it. Or, you know, you're just so engaged into the story that you just kind of like, and the characters and this sort of, you know, dichotomy between the two of them, their flaws, you really get to know these characters so deeply. So when things happen to them or the people around them, it's really effective. So I'm really sitting at like an 8.5 or a 9, and I'm leaning 9 here because I typically don't get this buzzed about movies like this, and I would not be surprised if this is in the top 5 movies of this year for me. That's just me, and I'll definitely rewatch this again by the end of the year here, which is coming up quick. But yeah, I say go see it. Watch it. The less you know, they say, is better, but I think it's fine, even what I told you, which is very minimum. So don't worry. You haven't ruined anything for you. Go in for the ride. The performances, the visuals, the camera work, the vibe, the music, everything is just kind of really designed to kind of take you into this weird spot. I don't think I've really ever experienced in another movie. Can't recommend this movie enough. I would love to sit down with you, John, if you're watching this video. So anybody from Dark Star, let John know. Let's have a meeting if he's got some time to sit down and kind of talk about the movie, try to get more people to see it, because I've not heard many people talking about this movie, and that's a shame, because this is a really good movie. If I would have known it was this good, I would have gone to the theater to see it, but I didn't. So let's get the word out. Thank you guys so much for coming by. I hope you're enjoying all the fresh content that I've got out there. If you haven't seen all the videos, don't worry. There's a lot of them. So just check them out, like them, comment on them. Let me know what you think of these movies, this movie in particular, and if you are excited to see it. I want to give a shout out to Dark Star Pictures and October Coast for giving me the screener to watch this film. I very much appreciate it and look forward to more films by John Ainslie in the future. So thank you very much. And as always, long live the void.